Hey everyone, this is Josh Hayward and welcome to episode 89 of the Find Your Craft Show. We are on week 2, or review 2 I should say, of the experimental hop pack from Sierra Nevada. A little bit of background on this. I was actually in a beverage store the other day and just happened to stumble across this experimental hop pack from Sierra Nevada. I felt kind of bad at first sight because as being a craft beer enthusiast, I had no idea that they were doing this. So I was kind of upset with myself. But it was short-lived as I was just so excited to find it. And it was the last one, so I was even more excited. But this was released by Sierra Nevada back in January, late January, I believe. And 4 different brews in here: an experimental hop IPA, double IPA, session IPA, and a Hop Pilsner. Tonight we'll be taking a look at the Hop Pilsner. Last week we did the IPA, and we'll hit the other 2 here soon. But interesting thing about this experimental hop pack is Sierra Nevada has gone out to the Pacific Northwest and they've chosen some hops. We don't know what kind, but they have specially chosen some hops for these brews. These hops don't even have names yet. They just have numbers. So I guess the hop farmers basically create these new hop varieties through planting and all that good stuff. And yeah, it's some new hops. So very, very good beers here. We took, again, like I said, we took a look at the IPA last week, and it was just very, very pleasant, very good. Just good, solid IPA all around. Nice maltiness in there, and then just phenomenal hop flavor, and kind of a variety of flavors there and aromas. Kind of got some citrus in there, some melony type flavors and aromas, and then like some more herbal and spicy type aromas too. So tonight we were taking a look at the Hop Pilsner, this experimental Hop Pilsner. There is not an ABV on here. But if you know anything about the Pilsner beer, it's going to be a lager style. Going to be a good bit lighter than these IPAs, these pale ales, and a little bit lighter of a malt, a malt bill, grain bill, I should say. And these beers going to be a lot lighter, more subtle, I should say. Most Pilsners you see on the market, whenever you hear the name Pilsner, you always think of big beer. You think of your Budweisers and your light beers, Coors Light, Miller Lite, Water Light, whatever. But they're all derivations of the Pilsner style that comes from Germany. And the interesting thing, usually the Pilsner, the hop variety, hop flavors, usually like a noble type hop, a German hop. And it's a good balance in the beer, and the hoppiness is kind of subtle, I should say. This is a very, very different kind of beer, though. Experimental hop Pilsner. They want the hops to be on display here, as we'll see in just a few moments. So I have had this beer. It's been several weeks, though, so the review is as fresh as I can make it. And already, just from a slight pour, I can already tell this is a much, much lighter beer than the IPA. And I can even smell, too. It's very different. So we have a beautiful straw color here, kind of yellow straw would be the correct descriptor. Completely transparent. I can see straight through that glass. I can see these bubbles of CO2 slowly rising to the top. It is a much clearer, much more refined type beer. That's characteristic of the lager, cold fermentation. It's fermented very differently from an ale. And you get that clean, crisp look there. It will look like your standard big beers. Little more malty though, so you have more color there for sure. A nice white head sitting here on the top. This sitting there, I don't even have to give it a swirl, but I'll give it a swirl anyway so I can get some aromas going. But a very, very pretty looking beer. Like even that's just beautiful, gorgeous beer. So let's see what we got on the nose. Very, very pleasant beer, very, very light, fresh type beer. Maltiness isn't too over the top. You're getting some light malty notes in there. I'm even getting, and I always go back to this whenever I talk about German lagers or Pilsners, anything of the German type variety. I'm smelling some German yeast in there, some of those German type yeast strains. Kind of a yeasty, bready type note there. I'm discerning some of that. And then just a little bit of hoppiness in there. Again, kind of more on the, spicy and herbal type side. And that would kind of coincide a little bit more with a Pilsner, usually using a German variety of hop or noble hop. So let's see what we've got. Cheers. Oh, wow. That's excellent. Very, very good beer here. I feel like you're getting everything you could want in a Pilsner beer. The lightness, the crispness, the freshness, easy to drink, so light and so refreshing, very, very smooth. And then you get a very, very pleasant hoppiness, a hoppy kick. Not a hoppy kick from an IPA, but a hoppy kick enough for you to notice it. Typically, you don't notice hops much in a regular Pilsner beer. You typically taste that breadiness from the beer, but you definitely taste the hops here. It's a very, very pleasant. It pairs so well with the standard characteristics of the Pilsner. Again, light, refreshing, crisp, clean, easy to drink, and then the nice hop flavor. As far as the maltiness goes, again, I would say a white bready type, maybe even like a pretzel-y type malt flavor. I like to use pretzel because if you break a pretzel open, it's basically white bread, but not with the salt. Just the breadiness of a pretzel, even like a soft pretzel. That type of flavor. The hops, again, they're different. I would say these are more on an herbal type side. Again, when I was talking about the experimental hop IPA, I mentioned some of your green herbs that you might use when you cook. That's kind of what I'm reminded of. Think kind of in line of your basils and thymes in a way. I'm not saying it tastes like that, but that's kind of what I'm reminded of when I get that greeny, freshy type flavors in there. Yeah, it's just what I keep going to is those herbs that you use when you cook. Very, very fresh. I keep going back to the basil for some reason. I think last year I believe I had a cucumber beer that had some basil in it, and I'm kind of reminded of that in a way. Little bit of pininess in here, not much though, not much. I would definitely say it's way more on the herbal and spicy variety. This is an excellent beer. Phenomenal, excellent alternative to anything else out on the market as far as the Pilsner goes from Big Beer. This is a perfect yard beer. I feel like I could go out and cut the grass and pound several of these to quench the thirst, to enjoy on a hot day, because you're refreshed, your thirst is quenched, and then you get an amazing flavor in here from those herbal and spicy hops. This is very, very good. I am kind of somewhat reminded of Founders Brewing's PC Pils. They do a hoppy Pilsner beer, but I will say that, again, a Pilsner variety with a more hop-forward characteristic. This is kind of in that same line, but the hop characteristic here is completely different and very, very good, very refreshing, very experimental, different, and I really appreciate it. So again, another winner here from Sierra Nevada on the Experimental Hop Pack. Cheers to those guys on going out and getting these numbered hops. They're not even named yet, guys. Getting these numbered hops and giving us a taste of what's out there and what's to come as far as the hop market goes. So you guys have a great night. Episode 89 in the books of the Find Your Craft show. Cheers.